Thank you very much, Kim. Good evening, everyone. Dear people, dear guests, all of those who are watching us from afar, I think we all deserve to say Shechianu v'Keimanu, which is a blessing we say when a great thing happens. That we have come here despite Omicron, despite COVID. I mean, nothing goes without saying. It goes without saying these days. We have with us Frank Lowy, Chairman of the INSS Board of Directors. He will open our conference in a minute and will invite the Prime Minister to speak. This is a wonderful occasion to thank you, Frank, on behalf of all of us, for your support of INSS ever since it was founded and for leading so wisely throughout all these years. It has been a major component in our success. Despite the limitations we have due to COVID, I have no doubt that this conference will present an expression to the strength of INSS, to its being a major component in shaping the discussion of national security in Israel. And you can see that the Prime Minister has joined us to witness that. Also the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yair Lapid, the Minister of Defense, Benny Gantz, Tom Knight, the Ambassador of the US in Israel, and many other distinguished guests. A week ago, we have given our strategic evaluation to the President. We've presented the strategic survey, and of course the main motives that we discuss in that survey will echo and accompany us throughout this day, throughout this conference. So let me tell you, maybe just a bit, just in a nutshell, the main insights that we have seen in the survey. If there's one thing that is fixed in our existence, is that Israel is always facing a large variety of strategic threats. The nature, origin, or severity is changing everlastingly, but they are always there. Throughout the last decade, the Iranian threat has been dominant in the discussion in the national security, and unfortunately it is still with us here with all its might. But it will be quite a mistake if we let this external threat, make us forget what is happening right here in our near vicinity, under our nose, we could say, that is posing two more challenges that are not less important. First, the Palestinian arena. Despite the increasing violence in Judea and Samaria, we are witnessing a dangerous movement towards one state, despite the fact that the great majority of public in Israel does not want this to happen. And to that we should add the dead end with Gaza and the tie created between what happens in Gaza and in Judea and Samaria, and what is happening within the state of Israel, from Temple Mount and all the way to the mixed cities. The other great challenge has to do with the internal tear in all its varieties, the conflicts between ethnic groups, the polarization in the political scene, the non-existence of governance in the Negev, lack of trust in the authorities. All of the above are accompanying us the whole time. The Israeli public understands the severity of this tear. In the survey we've presented this week, based on a very large survey, public survey, we found that 66% of the public says that they are quite concerned with the internal threats, more so even than the external threats. 57% think democracy in Israel is in danger. 94% have said that they are concerned about repeating of violence, conflicts between Jews and Arabs, as we have seen throughout the Guardian of the Walls. And so the Iranian threat, the Palestinian question, and the internal tear are not separate challenges, but they are one triangle with interaction between those three angles, and still each one of them has to do with a different aspect of our existence. Iran,
and all its arms are, of course, a physical threat. And the Palestinian threat is, above all, a threat on the nature and essence of Israel as a Jewish democratic state. And the internal tear is a threat on us as a collective with a strong common denominator, able to persist the other threats. In light of that, one of the most important missions we have as a leading institution when it comes to national security in Israel is to present into the public decision and for the decision makers this perception, the fact that the strategic challenge is not only Iran, not only Hamas, not only Hezbollah, but the whole of that together, this triangle that is equal, that is not only about the external enemy, but also has to do with what is happening to us within Israel. From that, also the responses to this triangle threat should come not only from the hard components, that is military force, but despite the fact that this is, of course, the cornerstone of national security, but the responses should also come from the soft strength worlds, that is fighting and for the diplomacy, for influence, make wise use of the water, energy, climate in order to influence the international arena. And also from strengthening the national and social strength. In the same way, what we need to fix in the political arena is critical not only to make sure democracy will continue to exist in Israel, but also in order to make decisions that are very brave about Palestinian conflicts, and also in order to heal those internal tears in this Israeli society. And finally, let me go back to my title, to the title of the conference, Time for Critical Decisions. In Israel, we have no dull moment. We have no one aspect where we can talk about easy making decisions. Almost in every aspect, we need to make very difficult decisions. So what has changed? Why are we giving the conference this title, Time for Critical Decisions? There are processes taking place within us and around us. It seems as if they have been here in the past, they will be here in the future, and everything goes as always. But this is not how things are. These internal tears are getting stronger and bigger. Sliding into a reality of one state for both peoples is accelerating, and also these processes are changing our reality and putting in risk both who we are and both our ability to face those external threats that I've mentioned. If I might speak, for example, about the climate change, there used to be this feeling, that maybe more gas emissions, more cutting out woods, nothing serious will happen due to that. But suddenly everything has changed, and we are now experiencing extreme climate events. This is what we call a tipping point, from which it is very difficult, almost impossible, to go back. We talk a lot, and justly so, about when will Iran become a threshold nuclear state, and that actually means that they have now moved past the tipping point in that essence that is so dangerous. Dear friends, I am afraid that we are so close to the tipping point, such tipping points also when it comes to the two other parts of my triangle of the threats, both when it comes to the Palestinian arena and both when it comes to those internal tears. And so this is the reason for this title, Time for Critical Decisions Before It Is Too Late. Thank you very much. I would like to also add, with your permission, before inviting Frank to speak, to open this conference, and to invite the Prime Minister, I want to add a few words. This conference is the result of very hard work by dozens of researchers of INSS who are doing their jobs amazingly. And it is important to mention the fact that they also come from the world of national security and also from the world of the academic research. And this together, these two joint, research and practice, practical experience and thought, this is what gives the strength to INSS. Our intention is not only to publish papers. Our aim is to influence the discussion, the discourse, to influence the decision makers, the policy makers, to put onto the table not only insights to what has already happened, but also suggestions, concrete suggestions to what should be done. We have done so in the past with strategic survey, but this is something that happens once a year. And we are trying to do so all the time. And happily, I can tell you that we do get the attention of the decision makers, the security influence, and so we are very proud for that. I have the honor to invite Sir Frank Lowy to open this conference formally and present the Prime Minister. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Frank. Thank you very much. I am very happy to open this conference, the 15th conference of the INSS. This year was very difficult, but the INSS has published many new and important researches, and I would like to thank them for that. I am also very happy that the Prime Minister, Mr. Bennett, has joined us. And that is truly very special that he has joined us here to open this conference. I wish all of us a successful conference. Thank you very much.